What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday night, which means it's another
Tuesday!
date night here. And I'm here live at Dolan's. There was a lot going on here today at Dolan's, and I still get to do my podcast. They were doing another podcast here, had some NFL players here. Actually, we may even sneak one on here in a little bit. So I don't want to.
I'm a little jelly.
Yeah, like I said, it was so crazy today because I had a softball game and it's the playoffs. And I'm like I have to go do this because I'm also doing charity work and I'm trying to sell stuff off so that I can make some money for charity. And I'm
Right,
like I
as we do.
and there's NFL players here. I know that there's going to be a group of people here, and I'm like, I got a softball playoffs. So, and but if that's the case, so yesterday we had playoffs as well, and we got spanked so
Did
badly,
you?
43-4 on a slow pitch softball game is ridiculous. And it only lasted the top of the fourth, and we couldn't even get out of the game out of the fourth inning. They called the game. So
Are you
today.
playing T-ball?
And no, we're played slow pitch softball, which is kind of like
Wow.
t-ball. Yeah, that's kind of like t-ball. And so today I'm coming all painted up because I got to come here right afterwards. So I got the green mohawk, I got the green eye thing going on. It's like, and of course, all the kids are like, "Why do you have green hair?" you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, I got my hair done today, and then I went swimming in the pool, so my hair turned green." you
Oops.
know, yeah, whatever.
I
Um,
have a solution for that. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, well, anyways,
It's
we won
happened to you so
today.
many times. I'm sure you know how to fix it though.
We won today. So, but
You
it
won
was so
today.
hot. It was so hot. I had to go home and shower. So that's why I don't have the green hair. But I did put on the jersey and I did get it signed by one of the players out there who is a single guy. He is a single
Ooh.
guy. So he may come on the show. I
Is he a
can't
good
see.
guy or a bad guy?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
I know that he was a great player. He was a great player, but I'm not going to announce who it is until he shows up.
Until
So
he shows up. Well, I
yeah,
mean, that's
I
fair.
don't want to name drop. I don't want to name drop unless he
No,
comes
let's
on the
not
show.
call him out unless he really wants to come on.
That's exactly correct because I'm not. I don't know what his life is all about, so I don't want to. I don't want to make it seem like whatever.
Yeah,
But
no, don't put him on the spot. But if he wants to come on,
come on down. You could be the next guy on the Two Birds podcast.
Christine, I miss you, love. Hi.
So tonight, and I was thinking about doing this and trying to figure out exactly. And we talked a little earlier in the week, and I was like, you know what? Of course, when I start thinking about the TikToks, what's up, Christine and Mike? Good to see you guys. Uh, when I was thinking about like what to do and how to go about tonight, and I was like, there's a lot of TikToks. I tell you, the TikToks kind of designate what we're going to talk about a lot. And I was
It
like,
does. And it's so funny how my TikToks are different than your TikToks. And we end up on two different sides of TikToks because me and you had a conversation the other night, just me and you randomly, about what tonight should be about. And then we kind of went with this. So
right. And I was like, you know what? This was kind of an idea that like I was spawned because I'm like, you know, it's always heard that the nice guys finish last, and where are all the good guys? And I was hearing a lot about that this week in TikTok, and I don't know. So when TikTok sends me these videos on my For You page,
right.
I get them, and some of them are old, some of them are not so old. You know what I mean? So it's weird
Because they all
because
get kind of like, I feel like they all kind of like get grouped together in some sort of sense. And you end up on like these sides of TikToks and you rotate through different sides of TikToks from whatever you like or whatever you post. Like it's a mixture of a whole algorithm. And although I can recruit an engineer, I am not one. So I get how the algorithm works and how to manipulate that. but I don't
Well,
know.
in my case, it's very odd because I get sports and dating,
Yeah,
and I
that's the two things you like.
well, that I mean, it is. So it's very interesting how that all works out. Because I mean, TikTok actually pays attention to what I download. So I download these videos, obviously, when I find something that I like. And I tell you, I see for every 10 videos I think about saving, I save only about one or two of them. So like, and TikTok, if you're not part of TikTok yet, uh, TikTok is made of videos anywhere between 7 seconds and typically a minute. Like there's some that go 3 minutes, but for the most part, I don't really try
I
to.
mean, not everybody has a 3 minute capability. I have a 3 minute capability, and I've never made a 3 minute video.
So Jesse, if you want to come on, you see the link. You see the link. I have no problems having people come on. See, a TikTok whore. We know. I know all about it.
Come
Because
on,
I'm
TikToks.
I'm a TikTok whore. You know what I mean? I do a lot of TikTok. And it's funny because if I hear somebody talking about TikTok, my ears perk up and then I got to listen to their conversation because I want to hear what they're talking about so that I can tell them, hey, you need to follow me.
Do you know what I do most of the time? My poor children, because you know me, I'm like always at the baseball field and there's parents around me and then they start talking about TikTok and I'm like, oh God, please do not follow me on TikTok.
Al is all ready for the show tonight. He's already ready to go. He's
I
got
love
the
it.
lube. He's got the lube and the bubble bath all
The
working.
lube and the bubble bath.
I tell you, only here can you get this type of. And I tell you, and I've also got the big man, Mr. Delco Hollywood himself. Hollywood Holbrook is in the house. He's in the house. He's all the way on the other side right now. Yeah,
Does he have I don't want to see him unless he has a smoking jacket on.
he does. No, that's PJ. PJ is the owner of this establishment. So Hollywood Holbrook is the guy. He wants to find love. He wants to be on the show.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
now I got it.
yeah, so we're actually starting to get crowds to come and actually watch me here at the bar, which is becoming more and more interesting.
Maybe I need to start going to the bar and doing my.
I tell you, we should start to think about that. Like, hey, this is where we're gonna be.
I mean, I have a really good dive bar around the corner from me.
All you got to do is ask them.
One of my all-time favorite bartenders does work on Tuesday nights, so I may be able to make that happen.
Well, you should. I'm sure, because ultimately, not only that, but then they would also protect you. You know what I mean? That's because I don't want you. I don't want you.
He will protect me no matter what.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at. So
yeah.
I want to make sure because I'm not worried about that. Ain't nobody going to come accost me here.
No.
Not at Dolan's at least. But we have people here all excited, wanting to check it out. And like I said, we may even have that special guest. I'm hoping he shows up. I'm like, hey, I'm doing the podcast right now. I'm starting here in like 3 minutes. Sign my jersey and
I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta run.
I gotta go.
But anyways, so tonight we're talking about where are all the good guys have gone? Where are they at? Where can you find them? And why is it that there seems to be a lack of good guys out there? And I've heard a lot of different things. I started to ask people why.
And I will tell you, Mr. Big and I just had the best conversation about this. He has a whole different mindset about where the good guys are, and I loved it. It was fabulous.
Well, you know what? Let's hear what he had to say first.
Oh, you want to hear what he had to say first?
Yeah, okay. Let's hear what his first.
So I asked him, I was like, okay, because he still has a lot of single friends. And I was like, where did all the good guys go? And he goes, what do you mean where did all the good guys go? He goes, it like, are there any good guys? Are you just looking for good guys? Like what were you looking for a good guy when we met? And I was like, no, I wasn't I wasn't looking for a good guy. He goes, okay, so then what were you looking for? I was like, well, I was looking for somebody that made me laugh, and I was looking for somebody to go out and do stuff with, and somebody looking to have fun with. And he goes, was that a good guy? And I was like, in my sense, he goes, okay, then it's the perspective of the situation. But you aren't going to know if they're a good guy or not unless you sit down and actually have a couple conversations with them and get to know them. So if you are just searching for a good guy, are you just checking off boxes on the list of all these things that you want and pushing guys aside that could be really good guys and treat you amazingly, but they don't check all those little tiny boxes, and now you're pushing them away until you, and not giving them even a chance to get to know them.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of that. There's a tremendous amount of that. It's actually, I concur with a lot of what he's saying there because, you know, the first off, being a good guy is a matter of perspective.
That's what he said too. He's like, every person has a different view of what a good guy or a good girl could or could not be.
Right. There's not a checklist that
Right.
says this is what makes a good guy, and this is what makes a good girl a good girl. I mean, yeah, let's I'm gonna throw our boy Sean under the bus. Yeah, yeah, because
I would
he's
throw him under the bus too.
he's a good guy. He's a
He
good
is
guy.
a good guy.
The problem with him being a good guy is that he is like a weenie good guy. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way that he's too nice of a guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's very, very a
Quick to
weenie.
attach.
He's a weenie. He's a little weenie. You know, he's a little weenie. Not
He's
that he's a
quick to
bad guy.
attach.
He's not a bad guy in that regards, but
No.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Back who picked off Matt Hasselback like 5 times.
there's a guy out back that picked off Matt Hasselback 5 times.
I would flip you off, but it's Facebook, so I can't.
So that's okay. That's okay. But ultimately, like he's sweet.
He is very sweet.
And the problem is with when you're being sweet, you don't have the ability to be a little rugged.
Well, I think part of his problem is he is so incredibly sweet, and he does wear his heart on his sleeve, that he's sweet and nice to everybody. And girls take that the wrong way, as in he's trying to pursue something with them. And then when he's like, oh, no, that was not my intentions. And then he's like, what? And then they're like, oh, well, you're an asshole because you let me on. And he's like, but that was never my intention.
Well, I mean, just like when he was on here and I was trying to toughen him up a little bit, like, listen, this is destined for failure. You know, it's like, and hey, listen, I hate being right. I hate being right, especially when somebody wants you to be so wrong. And that's part of the issue. You know, it was like I was.
I'm pretty sure that I've been there. So.
You know, and that's the hard part because I see writing on the wall. You know, I've been there. I've walked a mile in those shoes. I know what it's like. I know what we're fighting against. And ultimately, you start to, you know, like when you start doing that and you're all aflutter, when you're the guy and you're all aflutter, it's going to crash and burn because the girl wants a little ruggedness. You could be a good guy. You could be a great guy. Actually, it's actually better if you are a great guy because great guys aren't necessarily good guys and nice guys. You know what I mean? And that's where the perspective
Mr. Big
comes
said
in.
that too.
Right. Yeah, because it's just because you're a good guy doesn't mean that you're nice. I consider myself, nice is not one of the things that I would put in my resume. I am a good guy. I am an upfront guy. I try my best not to lie. I try my best to do the things the right way. However, I am dead blunt about things. And sometimes your feelings are going to get hurt when you're talking to me. And
I need that
ultimately,
though.
that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a nice guy, that I'm not a nice guy. It just
No,
means that I don't necessarily take the nice approach every time.
no. And I happen to be one of those girls that need that in my life. And I appreciate that from you. I've always appreciated that from you, from our friendship, and I definitely appreciate that from Mr. Big when he does it with me, because that's something that I need. I need every once in a while. I need to hear the hard truth and be like, pull it together.
And Christine, you're not the only one.
No.
There's a lot of that. I'm sorry, I hit the button again.
And Christine, I've done it too, where I've deleted guys that were just too nice because it becomes too much.
I don't know what you don't remember saying, but he doesn't remember saying that. What's up, Charles? I tell you, listen, nice isn't on my resume. Most of the time, I don't even say good is on my resume, because I'm not like I said, when it comes to relationships, I don't have.
Funny, Jamie, is I think you're a good guy. I know that if I ever needed anything and I called you and I was like, Jamie, I need you to buy a plane ticket and I need you to be here tomorrow because I need this. You, in a heartbeat, without question, you would be on the next plane and down here in Tampa.
Right.
And to me, that's the good guy. To me,
well, no, that is somebody who is a good friend, and that's a little different now. Now we're talking about what makes people good friends and not good friends, and like what makes somebody worthwhile to know and not to know. You know what I mean? So, where I would go out of my way to make sure that you're okay, because I care about you, because
Right.
you are my friend. I love you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to make sure that is the case. I'm not going to say that if anybody does that arbitrarily, that I'm going to go run and go do that too.
No,
So,
I don't think for you. It's definitely not an everybody situation. It's
correct.
a selective few.
Correct. And I could almost count them on both my hands. You know what I mean? There's not many people. Like it's a little more than one hand, but not more than two. So and that's the hard part about being a good guy or a nice guy or a great guy. Some people think I'm a great guy. There are things that are about me that are very good and what help me propel the goodness or being a good guy. I do a lot of charity work. Well, I guess if that is your measuring stick, that makes me a good guy. If your measuring stick is loyalty, I'm not necessarily a good guy. In terms of loyalty and being monogamous, that's going to have repercussions.
Well, then, and for some other girl, in my eyes, you're a good guy. You're an amazing guy. In some other girl's eyes, you could not be a good guy. So I think Mike nails it on the head. It's all depends on who's judging you.
Correct, because
it's everybody's own opinion.
It's a judgment, and that's the funny part about this. Sorry, just think about somebody. And everybody.
You're going in and out, Jamie, by the way.
Yeah, I see it here. I wish I could do something better here, but.
It's okay. I'm going to sneeze, though.
Bless you. You didn't sneeze.
I try not to.
So,
away.
but I mean, like I said, good guys are everywhere, and they're nowhere. You know, what I mean, and that's part of being tough. All right, let me see if I can maybe do this better here. I'm gonna try to switch it up, and
I was going to say, see if you can refresh. I've never seen you this bad.
yeah, it shows on one bar, so I'm gonna go mobile hotspot, and we'll try it this way.
Go, Jimmy, go. Go, Jimmy, go. Go, Jimmy, go. Uh-oh. Did he completely freeze on me? He might have completely freezed on me. It's fine if he did.
There I am.
Yay! He's back.
There I am, back as I could be. Is it any better?
Yes.
Okay. It says that my connection's unstable, but that doesn't mean anything.
I mean,
Could
your
be, it
lips
could not
are
be.
your lips are in one place and your face is in the other, but you're not like all jumbled. So
That's the way it kind of works sometimes. It looks like I'm there, though. It looks like it still says that I have an unstable connection, but it is what it is. I could try, you know, if I start to go out, then I'll switch back up again.
all right.
But anyways, so literally I don't ever put myself as a good guy. I put myself sometimes as a great guy, you know. And like I said, it's like beauty. Being a good guy is in the eye of the beholder.
Green
So,
hair day.
yeah, it's white.
I mean, being a good girl is all in the eye of the beholder too, you know?
Well, like, see, and that's the thing. Like, I guess the question becomes, what makes a good guy a good guy?
What makes a good
That's
girl
the
a good
question.
girl?
Well, I only want to ask one question at a time.
I mean,
Girls,
to me, a good guy is honesty and loyalty. Those would be my two top quantities of like, or I guess characteristics of being a good guy is being honest and loyal. That's what makes you a good guy.
okay. Well, if that's what makes me a good guy, then I can't say that I have all of those qualities. I'm honest, but I'm also honest about not being loyal sometimes.
But you've been nothing but loyal to me.
Well, and again, loyalty. Then again, that's a different scenario too. It becomes a matter of what do you mean by loyalty? You know, like I said, I've always felt that I can give myself to somebody. I can give myself emotionally, financially, even physically, kind of. But, you know, I'm going to want to sometimes go outside of the relationship.
But if you're being honest with that, and that's something that you have agreed to, then you are still a good guy. Because you guys have set those boundaries.
So let's think about who is like a traditionally good guy, somebody who is in the media or public that would be considered a good guy. I'm going to switch back to the other one. I think that like it's showing that I have a bad connection. So,
well, okay. So while Jamie switches back, I'm going to go back to the NFL Man of the Year, Russell Wilson. Good guy.
what makes him a good guy?
He won NFL Man of the Year. How does that not make you a good guy? Jamie froze on me.
I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back.
In a lot of people's eyes, he was a good guy. Otherwise, he wouldn't have received that award.
So hold on. Just because he wins an award doesn't mean that he's a good guy. It means that he did
That's
things.
a good guy award.
It means that he did things. You know who won the good guy award too? What's his name? Howie Long's son. Yeah, I mean he won a good guy award. There we go. Sorry, I was getting dark there for a second.
Now you're completely black.
I'm black.
Oh, now you're back.
Yeah, I was trying to get that.
Okay.
Peyton Manning. Yeah, I guess I could say he's a good guy. I guess that's weird. To think of him as a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's probably a pretty good guy. There we go. Bam. Turn that off. Let's see who else would be considered a good guy. Somebody who you traditionally think is a good guy. You know what? Here, I'm going to do one. I'm going to do one early. Just one early.
Okay.
This guy, I think, is a good guy.
Is a good guy?
Say there's a woman in a room with 10 men, and all 10 men are telling her how beautiful she is and how amazing she is, and they're lighting her cigarette and buying her drinks and just treating her like gold. Then, all of a sudden, in walks the 11th man. He takes one look at her and says, "Hey, how you doing?" Turns his back on her and starts talking to his boys. That's the guy she wants to be with, the 11th man. Not any of the 10 men who were treating her well all night, but the one guy who couldn't care less. For some reason, women don't want nice. They don't want real. They don't want to be treated well. I think that's crazy, and I refuse to play that game. Get a girl by pretending that I don't like her. I want to be with a woman who's real, who digs it when I'm nice to her, who doesn't see that as weakness, or take me for granted when I tell her that I think she's more amazing than anything else in the entire world. But unfortunately, most women aren't like that. They say they are, and deep down inside, they want to be, but they're not.
So he is somebody that I think is a good guy. Again, kind of like John, a little weenie. He's got that weeniness about him. And I guess that's what makes you a nice guy.
Is being weenie? I don't.
A little bit, because that's what. And it's funny that I use that word. I'm using that word.
I think when you're a nice guy and you're weenie like that, it friend zones you. Most of the time, it friend zones you.
I have another TikTok about that too. We'll get to that
here
later.
We go.
I'm not trying to do them all early, but the TikTok. Actually, it's a funny TikTok. I might as well go. I already let into it now, so I might as well go with it. Because it was a funny TikTok, and I was like, all right.
When you have a guy friend and he's a great guy, ladies, and you won't date him, do you know what that's like for the guy? It would be like if you went on a job interview, right? And the guy was like, "Well, Mr. Perkins, this is a great resume. You've got the experience we've been looking for. We love your attitude. You're perfect for this job. And we're not going to hire you." No, we'll probably hire someone who's far less qualified and has a drinking problem. But this is a great resume. Wow. In fact, this is the resume we're going to use to judge all the other candidates. Now, we're not going to hire you ever, but is it okay if we call you every now and then to complain about the guy we do hire? Can we do that?
I thought that said perfect.
Oh, it does sound perfect. And I've had a couple of really, really good guy friends. Really, really good guy friends. And it falls into that category that you say, Jamie, they always had the intention that they wanted to be with me. They did. They always had the intention that they wanted to be with me, but I didn't want to be with them because one, I was not ready to be in a relationship, and two, I didn't want to lose them because I knew I was going to fuck up
That's
mental
okay.
relationship.
We curse now. Yeah. So
Sorry.
right, but the problem is that you already are screwing it up.
I did, and I did. 100% I did. 100% I did. 100% I did, because ultimately I lost their friendship anyway
Because they can't handle it.
because that was
This
not
was
their
to When
intention.
Harry Met Sally. This is my all-time favorite chick flick movie. You know, but literally, men and women cannot be friends. They cannot be friends. The sex thing always gets in the way, and then you start talking about, well, how does that come up with us? Like, we're friends, so how is it that I could say that and be, because the sex thing does get in the way a little bit, but we're honest about it, right?
Yes.
And it's like, so okay, yeah, I'd probably bone you, but I'm not gonna, like, and then what? You know what I mean? Like,
I
you're
would
not like, so how do I
because you
put this?
wear jean shorts.
I'm gonna, yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, I'm not wearing them tonight, but how about I put this in a way that makes sense? Once once you do that, what happens then afterwards? You know what I mean? Like, what happens? Like, okay, because you stop talking, it, like,
Right.
now you've ruined whatever it was there was. The reason why that it is a friendship between us is because there's the small bit of sexual tension. You know what I mean? That again, I acknowledge it. I don't have to. You're not a bag of coke that I have to do. You know what I
No.
mean? That I have to do till it's gone. You know what I mean? I don't have to react on every urge that I have.
No.
That being said, I also know how to, like I said, I can be a friend. I can do these things. Now, again, does that mean that if there's not a night that we're both wasted as hell and something was to happen, hey, listen, life is life. You know what I mean? And that's how it works sometimes. So I can't say that we would never get
I don't
together
think
like
you
that.
can say that you would never with anybody, though.
Correct. That is exactly correct. So, and that's the one thing that I've always tried to be really honest about, like, because ultimately things happen. Like, when you're out and about, you could be in a relationship all your life with somebody, and it's a great relationship. And then they go out with their friends, and one night they meet somebody, and you could be very ignorant, and being ignorant to that person allows you to not find out anything about them. It's like they raise the music up in here now. There's nobody in here now. They had to raise the music up some.
They
But
want to have
anyways,
a party.
yeah, exactly. I wish there was more people in here, but I lost my train of thought. But anyways, it's like when you're
That life does
doing
happen.
something, yeah, exactly. When you're out somewhere and you, like, if you're going to be ignorant to somebody, then you're not going to find anybody. You're right. You're going to close yourself off. But there's a possibility that you could find somebody that you find a little bit attractive. All of a sudden, the conversation's going really well, and next thing you know, you're having thoughts. That's what starts to happen.
Well, and I think part of my sexual attraction, a lot of it comes from mental stimulation, like sitting there and having a conversation and laughing and enjoying each other's company. If I can't do that with you, then and here's one of my bad stories. You want to hear one of my bad stories? All
Sure.
right. So in my late 20s, I had this guy. I can't even say we were dating. We were just sleeping together. He was gorgeous. He could have been a model. He was drop dead gorgeous. He walked into a room and every girl was like swarmed around him trying to get his attention. And here he is having sexual relationships with me. But I could not carry on a conversation with this guy. Like, it drove me insane. The sex was okay. He was drop dead gorgeous. We had a couple of fun times together. But ultimately, I'm like, I can't even talk to you. You're not funny. Like, we have nothing in common other than you're just really hot, and now I'm bored.
Well, this brings me to my story that I heard this week. This did not happen to me, obviously. So I'm talking to somebody, and I'm going to say she's about 5'8", 5'9".
She's a tall girl.
And she's talking to somebody on Tinder, I think.
Mhm.
And they actually have a really good conversation. They get along pretty well. She finds him somewhat attractive, but the guy got face shots and whatever. Agrees to meet him at the bar. She's at the bar. She's sitting in a booth. Here, at like 7 o'clock, they're supposed to meet. Guy's not around. 7:15, guy's not around. 7:30, guy's not around. She's thinking the guy's ditching him. There's other guys talking to her, and she gets up to go do something. I guess like to go start talking to the other guys that are coming up and talking to her. And here it is, the guy's at the bar, sitting at the bar. He's like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" Literally, she comes over now. She's talking. Yeah, they're drinking. They're having a great time, a great date. Then the guy, it's the end of the night. She wants to get walked out. She wants to get walked to the Uber. And the guy gets out of the chair, and he's a midget. Yeah, we have somebody who loves midgets. She heard midgets and loved midgets. And literally, he's like 3'5". And because of that, obviously, she couldn't date him again. She didn't want to date him, and they had such a great time.
But why? Why?
Because
why?
so now it goes the other way because he didn't tell her.
Okay.
And I was like, well, first off, now I immediately put myself in this guy's shoes.
Because she would have never gone out with him if he had told her.
That is correct. That is correct. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place a little bit as being this guy. You know, because ultimately, you are, you know, you've got a lot to offer somebody, just not height. And like, it's funny because the guy never got up, never left the bar stool, never moved. Talked at the bar. They had a great time. Like me personally, I'm a little bit more forward than that, so I'll, you know, I don't know. I would notice, but hey, listen, Buck, we don't talk like that on here. We don't talk like that on here. Don't make me have to mute you. But anyways, it's just I understand both sides of that equation a little bit. You know, it's like, okay, I feel for the guy. I also understand where she's coming from. You know, because here it is, they had a great time. He walked her to the Uber. He tried to give her a kiss and she couldn't do it. And I can't blame her, because
Okay, but on her defense, she was in shock at that moment and trying to process all of that, and that's not the time to kiss somebody.
you're right.
That's not a time for a first kiss.
It's also, because ultimately
It was
you have to make a
ultimately the
decision
time
now
to
for a second
recognize
date.
the situation and have a conversation about it then, not try to kiss her and say, hey, I know what you're thinking. I just want you to know I had a great time tonight. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to prejudge me. I just wanted you to get to know me as a person. I hope you take that into consideration, and I would love to go out with you again.
So I thought about that, Mike. So what would have happened if it was vice versa? My thought on that is that some guys are just dogs. And that was like, I got to imagine that there is
I have to say that on a man's bucket list of things to do sexually, midgets are probably on one of those bucket lists versus it's probably not on a girl's bucket list sexually to be like, oh, have sex with a midget.
right. That's what I said. Now it's not on my bucket list. I ain't interested. But
It's not on my bucket list either. However, I can see it a lot more on a guy's bucket list of here's the things that I want. Here's my fantasies that I want to check off, and this is one of them. Versus on a woman's side, a lot less women are going to be like, here are my fantasies, and this is what I want to check off. I can tell you it's not one of my fantasies. However, I do have a fantasy of getting a lap dance by a girl stripper that's a midget. Does that
a midget
count?
girl stripper.
A midget girl stripper. Just a lap dance. That's all I want.
A bucket list for Buck Flair. So,
That's
of
just
course,
weird.
he's a weirdo. He's a weirdo.
But,
He's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Of course, he's a weirdo. You know what I mean? It's let's be for real on that. But
he probably
anyways.
lives in South Tampa.
But that all being said, realistically, it's this we're getting a little off topic of the nice guy because when you have a bucket list, niceness doesn't come into play.
Niceness does not come into play when you have a bucket list.
That is absolutely correct. So we're not talking about nice guys anymore. Now we're talking about dogs. And, really dogs on both sides. So I saw that. He must be on TikTok too. I saw that one. I almost recorded it. I almost saved it, and I chose not to.
Oh, I feel like I'm missing something because I did not see this.
Only women and children are loved unconditionally. It was something done by Chris Rock.
I will have to go back and look.
Yep. And that was something that I saw today, and I was going to download it, and I'm like, nope, it didn't make the cut. So, yeah, mostly because it didn't really go with, like, we're not talking about how, women and children are,
He's like, yes, sir.
Because he knows what I'm talking about. He knows I found it. Hey, Buck, you said it was you talked about it being on your bucket list. When we're talking about bucket lists, you're talking about mothers and daughters. So, that's on TikTok too. How do you know how I keep my boyfriend happy? I let him play with my mom. That's ridiculous. But
hard pass. I don't share.
I have never had a girlfriend that said, hey, play with my mom. But I have also had
and JB, you never got the privilege to meet my mom, and my mom would have absolutely adored you. But I'm very much like my grandmother, and my mom is was a wild child. I mean, she was 4'11" and a little spitfire, and she liked these guys that had like long hair and was like very like spiritual and
Hippies.
oh yes, and like beards and like walked around with the button up shirts with like dragons on them, and that was her thing. And you know my type. I'm like hard right, hard right. So I'm much more classic, and my mom was way out there. So for us, like that would be so far out of the realm. Like I can't even fathom that happening at any point in time of our life, that my mom or me would be like, let's make that happen. That's so weird.
Yes.
And not every mom and daughter relationship is like that. That was my relationship with my mom.
Obviously, they're not all of them are like that, but
But
I don't even know that. I feel like that if any of them are, that they are somewhat of an act. Like it just doesn't happen that way.
have you watched that Smothered show on you haven't. I know you haven't.
No, I am not.
But it's kind of like that. Like some of these moms and daughters like do crazy shit together that other moms,
because it's reality TV. That's the difference.
are
There.
like, this is insane. I'm not taking a shower with my grown daughter.
No, I'm not. No, like if I was a woman, I don't know that I would do that either. But I mean, that's just me. Now, I don't even know that I would feel comfortable taking a shower with a mother and daughter.
Anything for views.
That
Anything
is
for the cloud.
that is 100% true. That is 100% true. Yeah, because ultimately people want to do anything to get famous. So
It's called Smothered. It's called Smothered. It's on TLC.
Smothered on TLC. It's kind of like Naked and Afraid, just different. I mean, I don't know.
It's kind of like all the reality TV shows. You just have to roll with it.
Exactly. But
So Jamie, what are 3 characteristics that make a good girl for you? What are your top 3 characteristics that say that's a good girl?
For me?
For you. I don't know, Mike. I'm trying to get it back on track.
I'm trying to like what would be a good girl for me? Somebody who I would say is a good girl.
3 characteristics.
She has to be engaging.
And I like engaging.
She has to be self-assured, self-confident, and a little feisty. Somebody who's got a little bit of spirit in her. Maybe that's a better word. I like the word spirit, not feisty. Spirit. I like it when somebody can rival my personality, and that's what I like. I enjoy that. So if you could handle me, and not have to have me right up your ass the entire time. You know what I mean? That you can handle yourself on your own, and you're engaging. You're somebody who I could talk to. that I don't have to do with the small talk. I can actually have a conversation with you, um, along with be real.
Yes.
Be real. I don't need loyalty. Loyalty comes over time. So when you're saying loyal, honest, and good conversation, uh, honesty maybe, but I don't know. Loyal is not necessarily something that I am going to find out about right then and there. You know what I mean? I'm never going to know that they're going to be loyal. You know what I mean? Because when you just meet somebody, there ain't no way of being able to prove that they're loyal or not.
No, but I think that comes with time, and I think because I think it goes back to like Danny was asking what my characteristics were, and mine is honesty, loyalty, and confidence.
Yeah, but you don't know loyalty. That's the problem. You can't ever use loyalty as one of the criteria to a good guy because you don't know if they're going to be loyal when you're meeting somebody. So there's no way of being able to prove that whatsoever. That guy could lie about being loyal, and you could believe that he's honest about it.
That's my point. Is me personally, especially with loyalty, like trust is earned with me. Like it's not just given off the bat. So if I see you continually to show up and be loyal, then that's something that's earned, and that's what makes you that good guy. And that's what makes me want to open up to you more. It makes me want to trust you more.
That is a very good way of putting it. Loyalty is a consequence of love and faithfulness. And it does not happen quick. That is not happening. I'm not trying to badmouth Mr. Big or talk bad about him.
No.
But you have no idea whether that guy's loyal or not. You have no idea. You guys have been seeing each other for a short amount of time, and that amount of time is not enough time to be able to say that he's loyal. And it doesn't matter what you say, you can't use that as one of the criteria. So you like the fact that he says that he does what he says he's going to do.
I do.
That's a different scenario. That's not loyalty. That just means that he says something and then he does it. So that's a whole different thing. That's not loyalty.
What would you categorize that? Like what would you use as a category as a characteristics to put that in? Like I can trustworthy? Count on?
I mean, trustworthy, I guess you could kind of say. It's like, well, when he says he's going to do something and does it, that's the big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. When you say you're going to do something and then do it, that's important. Man of his word. There you go. That's another way of saying it. There's a specific word I'm looking for. That I know.
And so then at what point in time does that switch the flip? Because we've been dating for 6 months, and not all of that has been exclusive, but we've been dating for 6 months, but he has never not done anything that he's going to say that he has told me that he's going to do.
We got dependable, earnest.
Oh, go back to Don, because that's my uncle. Hi, Uncle Don.
Being responsible. I mean, that's all of these are things that are good qualities. All of these things are good qualities to have.
Characteristic right there. Being responsible.
I mean, dependable is a good one. Earnest. I like that. Right there. All of which fill into the bucket of a good guy.
It does all fill into a bucket of a good guy.
None of those are nice. None of those are nice. Nice is that's like nice is not one of the things on the resume. You can't have that on the resume.
Nice is not on the resume.
But yeah, and yes, everybody's opinion is different. Everybody's got different things that they need and that they want. You can't say that the things that work for me are going to work for every guy.
No.
And the problem is that there is a thing that women have, that Dion talks about briefly here, real fast, but that women like the bad boy. There's something about the bad boy that is appealing to a woman. It's the how do you put this? It's the it's like the unsureness.
I have no say in this because I am not I completely go the opposite way. Any red flag that I see that you're a bad boy, I'm like opposite direction.
Okay. I don't know. I've only known you dating a couple of guys. So I don't have any long-term, I can't say, in terms of, okay, this guy has got this qualities and this guy's got this qualities and so on and so forth. So
unemployed, living with mom, been in prison.
Yeah, those are all things. Hold on, look at that one. Yeah, I mean that's.
But that's a narcissist. At that point in time, that's a narcissist. Right. You're controlling that situation. That's a narcissist. That's a whole different category. Is Jamie a bad boy? I think it would depend on who you're talking to. In my eyes, Jamie is not a bad boy. He is amazing to me. He is nothing but respectful and adorable, and he will do absolutely anything for me. So in my eyes, Jamie is not a bad boy, but I can see where other women would say Jamie's a bad boy. So.
In terms of being a bad boy, I wouldn't classify myself as that. I have friends.
You can't, but it's not you.
Right, but that's the thing. You're right. It's not my opinion, but it's not. There are certain qualities that bad boys will have. For instance, and this is a very weird thing that I'm going to even mention here, but I tuck in my shirts. I've always tucked in my shirts. It's one of those things that I do. I'm wearing a jersey tonight. That's not tucked in, but realistically, I tuck in my shirts. It sounds so ridiculous. Bad boys don't tuck in their shirts.
Ever.
And it's a weird thing to even go to that minute level. And can I say for that alone, that's why I am not a bad boy? No. But that's
one of the reasons that you think categorizes you as not being a bad boy is because when to tuck in your shirt and not to.
I think it has something to do with it, So
I think that brings it back to respect, I mean, for like my grandmother, and if my Uncle Don is still on here, he will tell you this. My grandmother she raised 7 children, but you could not have like a beer glass, like a beer bottle or can at her table. You poured everything into a glass. You poured the wine bottle, didn't stay on the table. There was no beer bottles. It wasn't that nobody was drinking, is that you poured it into a glass and it was at the table and everything was set out how it was supposed to be. And it was how she was raised, and it was how we all were raised in that family, in that atmosphere. And it just taught you that there was a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things and a different way to do things than how everybody else does them. But for her, it was a respect thing. And ultimately it was like, are you going to respect me as your grandmother and or your mom and listen to me? And this is what I want in my home. And I think that was what it was for her, was just, it was a respect thing. And that's what made you, good or bad, was whether you were going to respect her or not.
So there you go. I was waiting for something like this question to come up, and it's only taken two seasons and tons of episodes. I am not a one night stand kind of guy. However,
Jamie is not a one night stand type of guy.
I am. I put it very plainly, is that I am a shared moments type of guy. I want to share moments with people. If I enjoy the time that I spend with you, I want to spend more time with you. If I do not enjoy the time that I'm spending with you, I choose to spend my time elsewhere. And now sometimes that could look like I am being a one night stand type of guy. Like I'm with somebody, one thing leads to another. I may have relations with them, and then afterwards I may not be interested in trying to have relationships with them. I can't always say it's their fault that I'm not. Sometimes it's my fault. Because I mean, I'm also a very busy guy too, so it's hard to like have times meet. You know what I mean? So, but then that goes back to, if I really want to spend time with them, I'll figure out the time.
If Jamie wants to spend time with you, he will figure out the time.
So,
and don't, Mike, there's nothing to feel bad about. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about asking that question at all.
No, and I'm. That's why I do the show. The show is because I want to be honest with what we're talking about here. I'm not the only guy that feels this way. I'm not the only guy that does this. I'm actually very open about it, honest about it, upfront, and I want other people to do what they feel best. I'm not trying to say that you should take after me. I say that you should live your life, and that you should do the things that you feel is right, and get yourself out of your own way. That's the biggest deal stopping people from being in a relationship. This is the problem. This is the problem with trying to find a good guy, that they're everywhere. This is going back to your TikTok. Good guys are everywhere.
They're everywhere.
And you have them right next to you. You may have dated one. It may have one in the friend zone. You may not even, like, they are all over the place. They are all over the place.
Well, now you have to play the TikTok.
I will have to play the TikTok. But you have to also want what it is. When you say you want a good guy, or that you're looking for a good guy, where's all the good guys at? You got to figure out exactly what it is you want in the first place. Because if you don't know what it is you want, if you think that you are just going to do, and you're going to just be able to find this guy or girl arbitrarily, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I like to date. I like and enjoy dating, because it's like practice. How am I going to know what it is that I want out of somebody if I don't try to find somebody? And then, because ultimately it's not a matter of what you like about the person, it's what you don't like about the person that you put on the list. Then you realize I don't like these types of things. So I don't want somebody who's doing those types of things. I don't want somebody who likes that, or is this way. You start crossing things off your list because everything's on the list. You don't know what it is you like or what you don't like. So when you say you're trying to find a good guy out there, they're all over the place. You just got to be able to define what it is a good guy is to you. And that's the problem.
And don't prejudge.
Exactly. And that's
off of the little things.
So, and that's part of the hard part. Yeah. Talking about practice. And I agree.
Oh, it definitely did. It definitely did change everything.
Absolutely. That's why, and you know what? This is part of the cow syndrome. The bull and the cow syndrome. Let's race down there and slam that cow. And the father bull says, why don't we just walk down there and slam them all? You know what I mean? Like it's that type of thought process now. Instant gratification and the grass is greener. And then this goes back to my statement. I'm not a grass is greener guy. I'm not a grass is greener. I like grass.
You just like grass.
And that's for real.
Grass.
So, but let's roll some TikToks. And I might as well start off with the girl who we're talking about.
Oh my god, there are just like no good guys out there. Everybody's terrible. Dating apps are the worst. Like every guy I meet is such an asshole. Like I just don't understand. Like I'm gonna be single forever because it's just so hard out there. You wanna know a secret where all the nice guys are? Yeah? Okay. Look around. They're everywhere, okay? They're the ones that you put in the friend zone. They're the ones on your dating app inbox that you've just ignored. They're the ones that have been repeatedly asking you out, but that you won't go out with because they don't make your stomach flip. Like that asshole traumatic guy that's unavailable, that's been stringing you along forever and that you can't let go of. So where's the real ownership that we have? It comes down to working on ourselves, getting over that toxic behavior so that we can see somebody for who they really are. Understanding that social media and the movies and everything has lied to you about what they believe a true relationship should look like. It's not as exciting as you think, but it can be secure and stable and wonderful. And there are amazing guys out there that would be a husband and a father and a friend to you. And you need to do the work so that you can wake up and actually see them.
There you have it.
I love that. I loved her for so many reasons, and I sent you that TikTok not only just because of not prejudging people.
You're home. How about that? I'm sorry. I've seen somebody I haven't seen in a while.
Not just for not prejudging people and keeping them in your inbox, but saying, okay, I'm going to at least give this a shot, at least give this a dinner, at least give this more of a conversation. And then on the other sense of really working on yourself. And I've told you this over and over, Jamie, in the past year. Like I spent a lot of time working on myself. Really focusing on myself and working on myself and having really heartfelt conversations, not just with you, but with other people too. And really like working some things out that I had to deal with and talk about and get through to make myself a better person and a better partner and make myself more available for the love that I really wanted in my life.
Right. Well, and that's, those are the steps that you have to do to be able to get to where you want to be. That's the hard part about you have to be able to fight those battles, and get to where you want to be at. It's funny. The girl that was just here real quick, and I know obviously she's not watching the show. So she is.
So now we're going to talk about her.
Yeah, I am definitely going to talk about her. She is not sworn off guys right now. She's sworn
Been
off
there,
guys.
done that.
And you know, it's a shame. She's a pretty girl. She's a little older. She's like 52 years old, and she just don't trust guys right now. Like it's a big found TikTok. You know what I mean? She does all these TikToks and stuff like that. And we started talking, and I was being kind of friendly with her. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. We actually got along pretty well. But I'm a guy, so because of that, I got put into the box with all the other
Mhm.
guys. And it's funny that okay, I'm in the box. Obviously, we get along pretty well. We talk great, but I'm in the box.
It doesn't matter. You're in the box.
Weird.
Which means she has something within herself that she needs to work on to be able to open that box back up and take
Right.
the lid off.
If she wants to, that's the hard
she
part.
wants
I don't know if
to.
she wants to or not.
It's her
Yeah.
decision whether she wants to or not.
Correct. So, all right, next one. Actually, I'm going to go back to back. This is our girl here. I always show her every week. So one day I'm going to get her on the show.
We
I'm
love
definitely
her.
going to work this in. Yeah, this girl's always helping guys, but she's got 2 on this week. So we're going to go right back to back.
If you're a good man and she lets you go, of course she's going to miss you. When she's not treated the way that you treated her, when she's taken for granted, when she realizes what she lost and she tries to come back to you, don't fall for it, because the truth is that she won't respect you. Find somebody that appreciates you from the start. A casual girlfriend will always keep comparing you to somebody else. A girl that loves you will keep finding more and more reasons to stay with you. Don't mix the two up.
Had to do both back to back with her.
I love
She
her.
is. Yeah, and like I said, she's always got the guy side of things, which is kind of cool. But it's some of the things that I don't always 100% agree with, but she is most of the time on point. And I tell you, I'm going to get her on the show one week. She's going to be on the show. Absolutely.
1 week we're gonna get her here. I think we have a couple that we're working. I mean, Shannon's in Orlando. I love her, and our schedules just keep not matching. It happened this week again. We were supposed to have dinner, and it's not going to happen. But it's always the same thing. Like, we can't download her videos unless she gives me permission to. So, but she's amazing. I love her. Her mindset is incredible, and she wants to come on. It's just like a matter of timing. So we'll get there. It will happen.
Yep. So let's show our boy
I still
Sean.
want you to bring our psychic on too. What happened with the psychic? Can we bring
No,
the psychic on?
she'll be coming on. She'll be coming on. She's actually family, so she'll definitely be coming on. I just want to set it up with her. You know what? Maybe we'll even do that next week. Bring on the psychic.
Yes. Can we? Let's do it next week.
I will reach out to her and see if she's available next Tuesday. So, but let's bring on our boy Sean. We were talking. I wasn't talking bad about him, but we were talking about him today. So let's bring him in.
What's up, loves? I want to discuss something. Last night I had an issue arise, and I told somebody no. I told her no several times. She then got really, really mean with me and told me that I'm just like the rest. Ladies, the guys who say no when you're drunk and trying to make bad decisions aren't the bad guys. I understand that this is probably an isolated incident, but it got me thinking, how many times does this happen to other people? Like, I was doing the right thing and still got made out to be an asshole. Reasons like this are why I am 100% okay being single for the rest of my life. I don't need to deal with that shit.
Can we talk about the fact that I absolutely listen to 100% of everything he's saying, and the whole entire time, all I can think of is Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Daffy doing the twerk on his shirt. They're just twerking away.
What's happening?
Daffy Duck and Mickey Mouse and Donald twerking on Sean's shirt the entire time. He's saying all this.
And our wonderful host, PJ, not in a smoking jacket, but he's
PJ,
definitely.
I don't want to see you unless you're in your smoking jacket.
She doesn't want to see you unless you're in a smoking jacket. So he says next time.
Oh, all right.
So I have a couple more left. I'm going to go with the girl first, and then I'm going to end with. I won't call him a friend, but he's an acquaintance that I have met. So
Okay.
and he's somewhat famous. But let's go with the girl first.
Red flag. Red flag. Red flag. Red flag.
That is a really old TikTok.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Just
That's a really old TikTok.
I just saw it for the first time. So,
That showed up on my For You page like months ago.
well, shows you how far behind I am, I guess.
On the red flags.
And
No,
the last one, I will preface this as I am the Philly sports guy, and I have met this guy at a game. He is a die-hard Saints fan.
Do I know
You'll
him?
recognize him. You will recognize him
Okay.
when I put him up there.
Okay.
He just recently had a big joke that, about a Philadelphia sports member. So, a really big one that just happened at the ESPYs. Here, I'll roll the clip.
If he wants a sandwich, you make daddy a sandwich. Most of the time.
No. Let me ask you this. Well, okay, let me ask you this. If me and you out and somebody say something slick to you,
You punch him in the face.
you want me to smack him in his mouth, right?
That's right.
So if I take you on a date and I say, look, baby, we gonna go Dutch.
No.
Exactly. If we walking up to the car and I don't open your car door, what do you say?
Open the door.
You better believe it.
Yeah, no, I am with you. I think
So you make daddy a sandwich.
I think
Make daddy a sandwich.
I mean, I'm gonna go back to jumping in the pool on this one.
It was a different take on it, but yes.
It's a different take on it. I understand where he's coming from. Completely agree with his message. The statement in front of his message, not the best way of putting it, but go back to jump in the pool.
Well, and what I liked about this, because it was kind of funny, you know what I mean? It was just kind of funny how he did it, and of course he's trying to be outed. Like I said, I met this guy. He's actually a really nice guy. He had a few moments. He was like, if you look on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, you'll see. You go to the photos, like the 12 main photos, you'll find him there. He's there on my page. And now he's Captain America. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny how
It's crazy,
it all works out. But I felt that it was a real statement there. It was a real statement. You make daddy a sandwich. If he asks for a sandwich, you make daddy a sandwich. You want everything from him. That's what he was saying. You want everything from him. You want to be able to rely on him. You want to be able to do all the things. You want him to be the perfect gentleman. Well, then you make that man a sandwich. You know what I mean? That's what you do because you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. It's give and take. He's asking for a sandwich. You want all these other things from him. All he wants is a sandwich. You know, because guys like sandwiches. We like to eat. Make me a sandwich. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. You make daddy a sandwich. You know what I mean? You want this from him. You want this from him. You want that from him. You want the third thing from him. Well, that's what it is.
It also could go back to the fact of a lot of people look at food as love. Like if they were fed or they walked into a situation where, you know, their grandmother was like, here, eat. And that was their form of love and feeling loved was to be full. If a man is going, I'm hungry, I want you to make me a sandwich. It's like having a love language. That could be one of his love languages is he wants that aspect filled for him because that's how he feels loved.
So I agree a little bit with what you're saying. I'll be honest. It goes a little bit more basic than that. I think that there is not much that a guy is asking from a woman.
No, I think when it really comes down to it, I think it's more about the same as jumping in the pool situation.
Yeah, but again, it's the guy that jumped in the pool. You saw the guy saying that, not the girl.
But I think it's both ways. If I expect you to jump in the pool, I should be expected to jump in the pool or whatever you want to do to make it that's important to you. It may not be important to me, but if it's important to you, then I should fulfill that and do that for you and make it special for you because it's important to you. It's that compromise. It's that back and forth. I'm giving 100%. You're giving 100%. Nobody's giving 50-50. It's 100% on both sides of the situation.
Well, I hear you, but it's not ever that way. And we know that it's never that way. You could say that it's a 50-50 relationship, but it's never that. It's never that. The guy is always expected to provide more. The guy is always expected to do more. There's more required from the man than there is from any woman. Are we talking for real? Because that's a for real statement.
I think it's 100% on both sides. I don't think it's 50-50%.
Well, of course, because you're a woman. Because you're a woman. You're saying, well, you're saying it's not 50-50. You're saying it's 100% for both sides. Yeah, but the problem is that your 100% is not necessarily equal to the man's 100%.
How would it not be equal?
Because, again, and this is probably going to make me sound a little sexist, but more is expected from the man in the relationship than a woman. And that's again a for real statement. And I'm not just saying that's there's a lot going on right now where that there right now public enemy number one in a general sense is a white male. In a more broad sense, it's men in general. That men are looked at as the bad guys. Which just goes back right now to where have all the good guys gone? Men in general are looked at as bad.
I
and that's
100%
the problem.
agree with
that's the
I
problem.
100% agree with that statement. And I think part of that is women being in much more control of scenarios and in some sort of sense in too much control of scenarios. Also having these large expectations in these large lists of everything and expecting a guy to check them all off before they even meet them. And that's not fair. Because then we're not getting to know you. We're checking off a list.
Well, and that's part of the problem right now. Is
But
that it's always a list. It's always a list because you have to fill in the boxes. That's the problem right now with most relationships. That's why right now after COVID, there was so many breakups because you couldn't handle who you were stuck with. Because you were really stuck with them. You couldn't go nowhere. There wasn't nothing to do. Now you gotta deal with that other person on the other side of the couch.
I don't know if it was necessary that you couldn't handle who you were going to be stuck with. I think it brought out a lot of things in relationships that maybe you had pushed to the side that should have been more talked about, more communicated about, more open about, more honest about, and that just kept being pushed aside and pushed aside and pushed aside. And COVID made them come to the brink of it all, of everything was right in front of you, and we have to deal with this right now, and either you're in or you're out.
So, Mike, I've been up to Buffalo. I've been there before. I tell you, no offense to Buffalo, because I feel like it's a really nice town. It needs a paint job. You know what I mean? Buffalo needs a paint job. Beyond that, Buffalo is a good town. I mean, I was on the other side of the falls, so I was in Niagara Falls instead of Buffalo side. I did have a great seat for the game. And I know you mentioned about Poncho. Poncho is,
we love Poncho.
So Poncho's always in our thoughts. So
always in our thoughts. I love Poncho. I'm giving him a hug right now. Oh my God, he gave the best hugs.
So I never had the opportunity to meet him. So he had passed right as I became a super fan in the community. I've been a super fan all my life, but I started to get in the community right at his passing. But I know Jamie, Balls Mahoney, who I didn't even realize was his brother.
I didn't know that was his brother.
Oh yeah, it's his brother, the Dallas super fan.
I didn't know that was his brother.
Yeah, so
I didn't know. I met Poncho.
And absolutely, Mike, his reputation has preceded him and has postceded him. You know what I mean?
He has set a legacy amongst all of us super fans of not only how to be an amazing person, but truly how to be an amazing super fan in themselves.
Right. And like I said, I do know his brother. He said he was from Texas. And I do know his brother. I actually found out from his brother that they were brothers. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. Like that was, so it's, like I said, it's one of those things that, although I never met him, his legacy lives on, within the community in such a strong fashion that it's,
such an amazing
it's ingrained in some of the things. It's inadvertently ingrained in some of the things that I kind of hold strong, with the things that I do. So
I mean, I don't know if it can't be ingrained in any of us that truly are super fans. He was so amazing and gave back so much and was truly just the most humble man ever, and just so lovable and so welcoming to everyone. When I did meet him, like I said, it was there was no question there. It was it was just such a welcoming hug in itself that there was no going back for that. He set a bar for what a super fan should be. Honestly, he set a bar for what a super fan should be. And we all need to live up to his legacy. Truthfully.
Right. Exactly. So, and I don't want to. I don't want to seem like I'm ending this on a sad note. However,
And
but
FYI, Danny, I love Frank. Frank and me, I absolutely love Frank. Frank's adorable. He's amazing as well.
so see, she even knew him by name. But listen, guys, we've gone our 90 minutes. I mean, this is.
I know.
Yeah, sometimes these shows go really, really quickly, and it's, yeah, like I said, I'm glad that we got to bring up Poncho a little bit and talk about being super fans and stuff like that. We sometimes don't do that enough as being super fans when we're talking about our lives in general. But thank you for everybody.
I think Jamie and I try to we try to separate this show versus being super fans, because if we turn into those super fans people, then all we do is talk about sports, and that's not, and then it degrades this whole situation and why we have the show in the first place, because this is not a sports show.
Right. Yeah, because if we start talking about sports, we lose half of our people watching. So,
but if you want to talk about being a good guy, Poncho was an amazing man. Amazing.
That is correct. He was one of the good guys.
He was one of the good guys.
This guy. Anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching and following us all night long. It was another great show. We're so happy to have you guys around and watching our shows here.
Loved it.
And all right,
Love
so
all the comments.
I'm gonna
Loved
try.
it.
I'm gonna try my best for next Tuesday. We're gonna bring on the psychic. I'm gonna try. I can't guarantee it. You'll know on Tuesday when I send it out. The psychic's gonna be on. We'll make something happen. So, but everybody who has been with us tonight, thank you so much. Everybody who's going to be watching this later, we appreciate it. Definitely share it out. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and all the other places that we're out there. Thank you so much for following us. Everybody, have a great
Good night.
night.
Love y'all.
Night, guys.